property, well, yeah, they're gonna have to pay it, but they don't have to pay it till they own it. So they put off that judgment day as long as possible. And any fines that the homeowner gets who's in there, those are never gonna get paid, because that guy, he's already flat broke. You know, he's about to lose the house, and the only reason he's staying there is the bank isn't pressing to throwing him out. But once the bank does throw him out, what happens? The house goes to a public auction. You know who buys the house at the public auction? Almost always the bank that has the mortgage. Very rarely will you see anyone else buying the house. It's the bank that has the mortgage. They're the highest bidder. Why? Because most houses are underwater. So the bank is buying their own mortgage. It doesn't cost them anything. All they say is, oh, gee, we already own it. And what that does is once they buy it at a sheriff's sale, all of those fines and all of that other stuff that's been accumulating goes away. They don't pay it. Bought it at a sheriff's sale, we get a free and clear title.
Here. That's not happening here. I can
Well,
honestly say that.
You haven't been battling with the big banks yet, but that's really what goes. Maybe it doesn't happen here all the time, but I'm sure it happens here as well. But that's what goes on in the real world. I mean, that's the way this whole system works. And I just wanted to give you an overall view of what goes on. And what I do is I try to keep you in the house as long as possible, whether you own the house or if the house is being foreclosed, even if you're a tenant. If you're a tenant, you have rights. And, you know, my obligation is, when I represent you, you're my client, my obligation is to enforce your rights. And even there, I've had people who were tenants in the house who have been able to stay in the house for sometimes years, just as a tenant, because the banks don't follow the law. At any rate, I hope none of you find yourself in that situation, but if you do, then you need a lawyer. Not necessarily me, but you need a lawyer that knows what he's doing with respect to this area. And if you don't have one, you're going to get steamrolled. That's all I have to say. If you have any questions at all, please ask.
Have you represented clients in Cook County? Because your office in is
Most of my clients are in Cook County. Most of my clients are in Cook County, and the other bigger group is in McHenry. McHenry actually has per capita. McHenry has more foreclosures than Cook, but Cook has obviously overall numbers. Cook has a lot more foreclosures, but yes, I have active clients in all three counties. As a matter of fact. By the way, I grew up in Chicago, so I moved out to the suburbs 10 years ago, but before that I lived in the city, and my office was in the city. It was on the northwest side of Chicago.
Any other questions?
I guess I'm going to sit with at the table to whomever can help me with this. I heard what you were saying, that how some people are, the banks are putting the squeeze on them. Heavy concern with some of the residents that I've been speaking with. They live next door to a vacant home. And for them to know that there is a fine, a lien being assessed to these individuals next door because, okay, a couple of them that left, that came earlier, they were actually cutting grass.
To the village. You may not know whether the house is vacant or not, but that's inconsequential. You need to call the village to just report it. Now, if indeed it is a vacant home or close to whatever, eventually they're going to put if the village comes out and does the work, they need to be paid. So they're going to put a lien against the property. They will fine to the owner if there is one still around, whatever. But that fine will turn into a lien against the property. And when we Meek Real Estate or any other real estate broker that's handling that foreclosure, that foreclosed house that's now an REO, when we come in with the buyer to get stamps, or so we represent the seller side, to get the transfer stamp so that we can move towards closing with the new buyer, all of that stuff comes up. All of those liens and fees, it comes up. Because when we apply for our point of sale inspection, and point of sale means just that, we got a sale. We don't do it until we have a sale. So when we apply for our point of sale inspection, we also get the copy of all fines, liens, and any outstanding bills, and water bill. Because we can't get ultimately a transfer stamp that we need from the village to complete the closing process. We can't get that stamp until all those bills are paid, and the seller pays, the bank has to pay all those bills and purchase the transfer stamp so that we can close with the new buyer. Give the new buyer gets clean title, no liens, no nothing, because we pay off all of that so that it's clean, it's cleared up at that point. And then we close, and then everything goes to the new buyer, and from that point on, it's their responsibility.
And to the bank, just with the hope, could you kind of give me a little response? Are you guys doing basically everything that you could possibly do with these residents before evicting them?
Like, again, I'm involved in the application process, so I'm not involved in that part of the process when, you know, a house is going into foreclosure. I'd have to, you know, get a contact to you to answer the question for you.
Okay, because I'm basically speaking because I'm a trustee out here, and I do a lot of going through neighborhoods, and I talk with a lot of residents, and I have had, since I've been in office since May, I've actually had 3 residents that just walked away because they said they wasn't getting any help. I just wish Trustee Henry could have put this on way back in May, and we might have, they probably could have came and got some of this information, and they'd probably still be here. It's a plus heaviness here, and you guys have gave us a lot of good information, but that's one of the big problems, and it somewhat hurt when I see a person, they just walk away. Just leave everything and just walk away, so.
But Trustee Brown, one thing people do is when they get, as he said, start getting notification that they're in trouble and there is a problem, they do nothing. I mean, not everybody, but they get so, I think intimidated maybe is the word, but they get fearful, you know, and they just kind of back down and you just feel like giving up. So that's what they do. They give up and they do nothing. And if you don't do anything, you can't get anywhere. As he said, if you don't come to court, I mean, I know people who haven't paid their mortgage, ran into problems, lost jobs, been in their house 3 years before they did anything. Out here and other places. I got one girlfriend just left from out here and she literally did not pay a mortgage for 3 years. But she went to all her court calls.
So I'm just hoping the young lady that live on Grand Street get some help, don't just walk away.
My mortgage is just upside down, it's not.
You say it's upside down, you scared me when you said that,
Oh,
that
no.
you was gonna
No,
leave.
Oh, no, it's not delinquent, it's just, the property value is down. I'm 32.
Everybody is upside down.
$55,000. So I'm just saying, you know, it's 55,000. I got an old house, they got some newer houses right down the street.
So you want one of those new houses, I can understand that.
That's $70,000, but my neighborhood, Grant Street, I love my area. My neighbors, I've been there 13 years.
Okay, I just thought you was talking about leaving, so, this young man here, you got a lot of money. As long as somebody has some money. Mr. Rogers, people's here, Mr. Rogers, don't do that.
You know what?
Trustee, I just want to add, to piggyback to what Attorney Kiss said, you need to have legal representation. Please don't underestimate that. You are not equipped to deal with the humongous task that's involved with this. You're probably not trained as attorneys. You're not equipped to do it. You need to not only have an attorney when you're dealing with the mortgage issue. Sometimes attorneys can talk to the bank on your behalf and get you some relief, but they won't listen to you, but they will listen to an attorney. So that's a couple of $100 well spent on your behalf to hire an attorney to help you. The other thing is when you're buying these properties, some people go through the foreclosure process, they're represented by counsel, they're in their house for 2-3 years. What are you doing while you're in that house? You're not paying a mortgage. What are you doing with your money? You should be saving some money so that you can now, because your credit's shot, you can now go out and buy one of these foreclosures for 30, 40 and pay cash. So now you're in another house. Once you get out of this house, don't leave until you legally has to leave. Let your attorney exercise every avenue legally available to you. But you should be saving money. While you are not paying a mortgage, you should be saving some money so that when you eventually have to get out of that house, you can get you something else. And because your credit is shot, you want to try to downsize and get you something smaller that you can pay cash for. You don't need approval to pay cash. You need approval for a loan. If you got cash, you don't need approval. So one of these properties that they foreclosed on is now on the market because they bought them for, 10 cents on the dollar. Now you can go and buy one, do a little fixing up, and be in that mortgage free, and then start to reconstruct your personal affairs. But if you're buying a house or if you're losing a house, please get an attorney. Please. You will do yourself a disservice if you don't, because you don't know the process. You don't know what the legal remedies are available to you. You don't know. That's a whole truckload of stuff that you don't know. So get an attorney. You need somebody to represent your legal interests. The banks have somebody representing theirs. Have somebody representing yours. I see it all the time. I talk to clients, they come in, the first thing I ask them is, do you have an attorney? Do you have an attorney? Whether you're purchasing or whether you're coming in to discuss your situation because you're trying to do a short sale and you want to put your house up for sale. You need an attorney to represent your interests. We as realtors are not attorneys. We can't represent you legally. We can advise you on a lot of other things, but we cannot practice law. So you need an attorney to represent you. I can't underscore that enough.
And last but not least, even though you just heard from Ms. Washington, to number 4, real estate agent. I know some of you think, why is she offering us a real estate agent? Let me answer that. Because in the beginning, I stated, I will give you the tools you need to succeed and guide you with applying them in the right way. With that being said, there is no hurdle that she can't attack or a property that she can't move. Ms. Faye Washington. Your round of applause.
Need I say any more? Again, but Mika Real Estate is the company I work for. We're right at Burnham and Ridge Road. We handle Southland Chicago and Indiana, Northwest Indiana. What your real estate broker do, we're called brokers now, what your real estate broker does is we direct you to other sources you need to connect the dots. It's a collaboration. We can't do it all. Like I said, we're not attorneys. We can't do the attorney side. We can't practice law. We're not loan officers. We're not licensed loan officers. So we can't tell you what all the latest and the greatest programs are. That's not in our lane. But what we do is direct you to the other parties in the process that you need to talk to help you bring all of this to a successful conclusion. That we do. So when you come to us, we're going to not only do our part, but we're going to direct you and help you with the other pieces that are important to make this thing successful so that you succeed in your real estate goals. That's what we do. And in Southland Chicago, I think we do it the best.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Questions? Well, that concludes our first housing committee meeting for the new year of 2014. I want to thank all the residents for attending on this snowy day, and I want to thank our panel, Kiss and Associates, Ty Moore, Philip Kiss. I would like to thank our loan officers, Linda from MB Financial, and John, I keep forgetting your company.
Land Home Financial.
Land Home Financial, and I would like to thank Faye Washington from Meeker Real Estate. Is that right? Okay. And also I'd like to thank our housing director, Denise Fields, and I would like to thank all of the trustees that came out and supported this. Ms. Kathy Mandel in the back. Trustee Robert Pearson.
Sorry, I was late.
Trustee Stan Brown. Thank you. Trustee Hunt was here as well, and I am Trustee Henyard. And if y'all have any other questions or concerns, or you need information that was given out today, you guys can reach me on my cell phone at 708-297-6859. Again, my cell number is 708-297-6859. And again, I would like to reiterate, please contact an attorney, whether it's Kissing Associates, but please get help. Do not get in foreclosure and be too afraid to come out and ask for that help again. Again, my cell number, if you need help and you don't want to tell anyone else, 708-297-6859, and I will direct you in the right direction and give you the tools you need to succeed. Any other trustee would like to make a comment before we conclude?
I'd just like to thank each and every one for coming out. We started about 10:30, and we had a nice crowd for about a good hour and a half, and I know this is a busy Saturday. I thank the ones that came from the beginning that's here to the end, but a lot of people had to come and take care of the business. Really appreciate that. This is just a step that we're just trying to make a paradigm shift to get things as right as we possibly can get here in the village of Dolton. Information is always good to have. Within hope, Trustee Henry would make this happen at least once a month. A lot of information was given out. A lot of information was absorbed. I can't thank you enough, panel, for coming out, sharing with us some things that we really did need to know. Thank you for your time. Thank everyone for coming out. Drive safe. Anybody need any more information?